Well, looks like we're live. That's interesting. Shows 5 seconds. Okay, well, I'm going to assume we're live. Didn't see that happening. But good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Department of Career Services. It is Monday, September 16th, 2024. It is about 6 o'clock in the morning here in southwestern Nevada, Nye County, Pahrump, or Pahrumpertucky, you choose. Okay, I guess we are live. Good morning. What a baby. Good morning. Good morning. So, here we are one more time, just for today, right? How was the game yesterday? As you're typing that, I'm going to talk about our introduction. So, this is Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help our students and other interested people in this journey through life, heading towards a destination, which is what comes after that. And that destination is a function of the journey. So if your journey is pointed there, towards that destination, we're helping you get to the best destination. Not we're advocating against the idea that all there is a journey, and you should make the most of the journey because there's nothing else. Nope. There is a destination. You will get there, whether you like it or not. And now is the time to best prepare for that. Okay, good morning, Mr. Bojangles. Okay, now the question is, will Matticus von Atticus join us today as well? Okay, our theme of today, actually the theme is exceed expectations. But before you do that, the idea is to set proper expectations, set and exceed proper expectations. This is red letter from Darren Hardy's talk today down below about the value of exceeding expectations, setting and exceeding expectations. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So what a bevy, how was the game? Let's see, alrighty then. Advice from an 80-year-old. Compliment the meal when you're a guest in someone's house. Compliment the meal when you're a guest in someone's house. Right. Important part of getting invited back. And there's a story about Alexander and his men having a banquet given by a defeated king, who then Alexander took in. At the banquet feast, Alexander's men were complaining about how bad the food was. And he admonished them, don't complain about the food. If you don't like it, just don't eat it. Show respect. Okay, great. Groovy, 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 groovy. Let's see, anything from what a bevy? Right, let's see. I was in the bag buffer zone. I'm not sure what the bag buffer is. Fun bag buffer zone. Okay. Yeah. So there's a famous story about somebody doing a job interview at a meal with the boss, and the boss did not hire the person. And when asked why, the explanation was, I don't remember the exact explanation, but it had to do with adding salt and pepper before tasting the food versus taste it and then do it. So, Seth Godin, buy now, B-Y-E, as in goodbye. The difference between buy now, meaning B-U-Y, and B-Y-E now is very thin. The difference between buy now and buy now is very thin. Sometimes when we push very hard for a commitment, we break the trust we've earned. Yeah, For a while, you might not notice the broken trust because we're encouraged to keep pushing, treating every individual as a walking ATM, not a relationship to be nurtured and a person to be helped. Soon, though, you run out of the gullible and all you're left with is distrust. Right, pushy salesman. Getting you something you just didn't really need, or giving you selling you something you didn't need, you didn't ask for, you didn't want, pushing you to get it, and then they have the attitude of, well, it worked once, we'll keep doing this. Yeah, once that thing of trust is gone, it's gone. So that's kind of goes to setting and exceeding proper expectations. Right. Looking up here, seeing if there's anything else. Okay, Atticus is not with us. We need to reach out to him to see how he's doing, get him back on track at Fort Prescott. Okay, exceeding expectations. Well, the first thing would be to set proper expectations. Here's what I have, here's what I'm expecting, and get a meeting of the minds as to expectations. And then the goal is simply to exceed them. If you do that, what's going to happen? People are going to want to continue to work with you, right? Here's the expectations. I exceeded them. What often happens is we do not set proper expectations in the beginning. So the expectations of one party, here's the minimum, here's the maximum, here's the other party, minimum, maximum. They don't align like that. That's what you want. The expectations are like that, ideally perfect. But expectations need to be like this, okay? Now you can keep working together, right? You can keep working together if the expectations are like that, setting proper expectations. Both sides will be happy. Typically, though, we're like this. We didn't set proper expectations. So we need to go back, get the expectations realigned. And if the doer, let's just say there's a doer and a receiver. If the doer is being asked to do more than they are receiving, who has the duty to say something? It's just natural for the receiver. If somebody exceeds expectations, it's natural for the receiver to think that is the standard, right? So on the other side, it's kind of like if you do a favor for one person or you do a favor a couple times, all of a sudden it's no longer a favor. It's now the way it is. And then when you go back and say, whoa, hold on a second. This is what you're required to do. Now you have somebody upset because you exceeded expectations a couple times and now they think the expectation has changed. So it's important to always set proper expectations and exceed them. And then make it very clear. So this is an ongoing thing. And much of the duty is the responsibility of the person performing the services to set proper expectations. Here's what I can do. I can do this. These are quotes. Here's what I can do. I can do this. When necessary, you can go the other way and say, well, I can't do that. That I can't do, but I can do this. Here's what I can do. Or I can't do that anymore. I'd like to be able to do that, but I can't continue to do that. And now the recipient has to change. So it's typical that the recipient is always going to, it's just hedonic adaptation, right? The recipient is always going to appreciate what they get. They're going to want to have it continue, and they're going to think that once it's done a number of times, that's the way it is. Now the expectation is here. Originally, here's the agreed expectation. You exceeded expectations. So now the natural thing is the recipient believes they expect these results. So the performer, the giver, really has the duty to recalibrate. I can do this, but here's what I need you to do. Here's what I'd like you to do, because I can't do that. Not good for the person performing who's exceeding expectations to throw it back in the recipient's face when they exceed. Okay, you agreed to give me 2 oranges. We agreed I'd give you 2 oranges, but I gave you 3. And so you owe me this. You owe me this extra because I gave you 3, not 2. Well, my expectation was 2. Yes, you gave me 3, but you didn't tell me that your expectation changed. I thought you were just exceeding expectations. I didn't know that this was a new negotiation, or that your expectations were higher, you performed more, and you expected more. I didn't know that. You didn't tell me. So always important, set and then exceed proper expectations. And when you exceed expectations, if you're doing it for somebody good, they're keeping track. They will reciprocate one day. Don't go back later and say, here's what I did for you. Because if you voluntarily did it, you did it for a particular reason back then. You didn't have to do it. You voluntarily did it. And now you need to get yourself out of that. So today's meme, set and exceed proper expectations. That is from Darren Hardy thing today in red letter. 3 actions to win over bosses and clients. They have to do with setting proper expectations and then being the go-to person. So let's see, we've got anything else? Well, it looks like Matticus von Atticus isn't going to be there. I have some meetings today. I have to be out at Pratt. And then a lunch meeting. And then hopefully at the TV station for the PSA, etc. Okay, yeah, good. So this is a short one for today. Let's just talk a little bit about today's TED Talk, Sebastian's song. This is week 2, day 1 of week 2 in our neuroscience-oriented program. So this is inside our skull-sized kingdom. How does our brain work? This is our neuroscience approach. So this week we're going to focus on neurons, or as Yuval Harari calls them, neurons. Neurons, neurotransmitters, reticular activating system, how they work. So today Sebastian's song does a good job of breaking down what neurons are, what they do, how they work. And so stored in our connectome, so he calls that the connectome, which is the connection of all neurons and synapses. So we have about 86 billion neurons. He says 100 billion, that before Susanna Herculano came up with her technique. but 86 billion neurons, and each neuron has about 10,000 connections. So 86 billion times 1,000 is 86 trillion. Add another zero, 860 trillion connections in our brain. Right. That's a big number. That's the connectome. And he'll say, as opposed to the connectome for the worm C. elegans, which is 7,000. 300 neurons and about 23 connections per neuron, 23.333. So that's where our rich life comes from, having more neurons. And in the neurons are stored our lived past, our anticipated future, our personality, our ability to simulate. All of the things that make us who we are stored in our neurons. How do we know? How do we know they're not stored somewhere else, like in our heart? Well, if you get a heart transplant, who are you? Are you now the person who gave you the heart? No. Nope. It's in our brain. You get hit in the brain, you get brain damage, and those things, your personality, lived past, anticipated future, etc., will be changed. So this is an important one. It's in our neurons, people, neurons. Don't do things that damage your brain. Right. Don't do things that damage your brain. Okay, we're 16 minutes in. I'm going to say sayonara. Please go look at the worksheet. Good thing to do. Watch the Sebastian song as a refresher for those who've been here. Otherwise, understand how your brain works so you can answer the two fundamental questions. Who am I, and why do I behave the way I do? If you answer those, you're going to be pretty far along. I messaged him. Wow. Okay, cool. All right. We're saying hasta la vista till tomorrow.